on a small scale has its reflection on a large scale. In essence, everything is interconnected, and understanding these connections can lead us to profound wisdom. Understanding this principle allows us to see the interconnectedness of all things in the universe. The third principle, the principle of vibration, asserts that nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. This fundamental truth of Hermetic philosophy suggests that the universe and everything within it is in a constant state of motion. The principle of vibration transcends the physical, reaching into the realm of emotions, the mind, and the spirit. Every thought, feeling, or state of consciousness carries its own unique vibrational frequency. Consider the humming of a bee or the pulsating rhythm of a beating heart. Even emotions carry their own energy. Joy vibrates at a different frequency than sorrow. Love hums to a different tune than fear. Our thoughts, too, emit vibrations, reaching out into the universe like radio waves. This is why the ancients believed in the power of incantations and spells, for words themselves carry vibrations, capable of influencing reality. This principle reminds us of the constant state of flux and movement inherent in all things. The fourth Hermetic principle, the principle of polarity, posits that everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. This principle speaks to the inherent dual nature of all things, light and dark, good and evil, love and hate, hot and cold. These are all examples of polar opposites. They seem like stark contrasts, but they are actually just different degrees of the same thing. Just as there is no absolute hot or cold, but rather varying degrees of heat, there is no absolute good or evil, but varying degrees of both. This principle isn't just a philosophical concept, it has practical applications. By understanding the principle of polarity, we can leverage it to transform our perceptions and attitudes. If we're feeling negative, we can consciously shift towards positivity. If we're cold, we can imagine warmth. This principle teaches us about the fundamental duality inherent in the universe. Next is the principle of rhythm, which states that everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides, all things rise and fall. This principle expresses the universal law of nature that governs the movement of all things. It is the heartbeat of the cosmos, dictating the ebb and flow of energy, the rise and fall of empires, the waxing and waning of the moon, and the pulsating rhythm of our very own breath. Just as the pendulum swings from one extreme to the other, so too does everything in the universe operate in cycles. This rhythmic swing is constant, recurrent, and predictable. It's seen in the changing of seasons, the transition from day to night, and even in our own lives, as we experience periods of growth and decline, joy and sorrow, action and rest. The principle of rhythm is a reminder of the cyclical nature of all things, an assurance that after every fall, there will always be a rise. This principle reminds us of the cyclical nature of all things. The sixth principle, the principle of cause and effect, asserts that every cause has its effect, every effect has its cause. This principle, deeply rooted in the Hermetic philosophy, is a universal law that governs not only the physical world, but also the mental and spiritual realms. It suggests that everything we do, think, or feel sets into motion a chain of causality, rippling through the cosmos, influencing events and outcomes far beyond our immediate surroundings. This principle urges us to understand that our actions and thoughts are not isolated occurrences, but are interconnected pieces of a grand cosmic puzzle. When we grasp this principle, we realize that we're not merely passive observers in the universe, but active participants, shaping our reality with every thought, every action. The principle's practical application lies in harnessing this understanding to consciously influence our circumstances, to be architects of our destinies rather than mere products of fate. This principle teaches us that nothing happens by chance. Finally, we explore the principle of gender, which states that gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. This principle stretches beyond the biological understanding of gender, reaching into the realms of the metaphysical. The principle of gender embodies the concept that both masculine and feminine aspects exist in all phenomena. It's not about men and women, but rather about the energies and characteristics they symbolize. The masculine principle represents the active, creative, and forceful side of nature, while the feminine principle embodies receptivity, nurturing, and adaptability. Take, for example, the sun and the moon. The sun is often associated with masculine energy, being the dynamic and radiant force. The moon, on the other hand, reflects the sun's light and is often associated with feminine energy, embodying a more passive and reflective nature. This principle reminds us of the inherent balance and complementarity present in the universe. We have delved into the 7 fundamental principles of Hermetic philosophy. In this fascinating journey, we've explored the principle of mentalism, which teaches us that all is mind, the universe is mental. This principle challenges us to reconsider our perception of reality, nudging us towards a broader understanding of consciousness and the universe. Next, we ventured into the principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. This aphorism encapsulates the concept that what happens on one level of reality also happens on every other level. It's a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things, a theme that echoes throughout the Hermetic teachings. Then we encountered the principle of vibration, a cornerstone of Hermetic philosophy. This principle emphasizes that everything moves, everything vibrates. Nothing is at rest. It inspires us to recognize the dynamism inherent in the universe and in ourselves. The principle of polarity was our next stop. It expounds the idea that everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. This principle invites us to embrace the paradoxes and dualities of life. Our exploration continued with the principle of rhythm. It teaches that everything flows in and out, everything has its tides. This principle encourages us to flow with life's rhythms rather than resist them. The penultimate principle we delved into was the principle of cause and effect. It asserts that every cause has its effect, every effect has its cause. This principle urges us to consider our actions and their repercussions, fostering a sense of responsibility and mindfulness. Finally, we touched upon the principle of gender. It proclaims that gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. It's a call to honor and balance the masculine and feminine energies within us and around us. As we conclude our journey, we are left with the profound wisdom of the Hermetic principles, a wisdom that continues to resonate with seekers of truth around the world. But wait, there's more to the story of Hermetic philosophy. As we peel back the layers of the Hermetic teachings, we find that beneath the 7 principles lies a wealth of deeper wisdom waiting to be explored. In our next video, we'll delve into the hidden depths of these teachings, uncovering the profound insights that have been passed down through the ages. We'll explore how these principles apply not just to the cosmos, but to our personal lives as well. How can the principle of mentalism help us understand our own minds? How can the principle of correspondence illuminate our relationships with others? How can the principle of vibration guide our actions and decisions? How can the principle of polarity help us navigate life's challenges? How can the principle of rhythm help us find harmony in our lives? How can the principle of cause and effect inspire us to live with greater mindfulness? And how can the principle of gender help us cultivate balance within ourselves?